C2 Wrestling Podcast is back. Crazy week, crazy few weeks, whether it's wrestling, whether it's reunions, whether it's my Philadelphia Eagles being in the Super Bowl. So much going on, so much to get into. Rumble winners, road to WrestleMania, future of this channel with video ideas. A lot of it will get broken down all after we all find out. Snowden, how are you doing today?
Well, I was here for the Rumble, the live reaction. I was there for SmackDown. No longer under the weather, no longer sick. We're doing good, man. We're doing good. It's been a crazy week in wrestling, man. It's been a crazy week for the both of us. Glad to be here.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. If you see the title, if you know already, we are two members of FAPReactions, the OG YouTube channel. We have been grinding on this channel for over 6 months now,
Mm-hmm.
not posting anything video wise on FAPReactions, just because FAP is like a special time period, and also it is something that has to be the four of us.
Mm-hmm.
If it can't be the four of us, we can't do it. Like it is a
Yeah.
channel dedicated to the four of us. Some of you may be listening, have no idea what we're talking about. Some of you may be coming back to this video and be like, "Oh shit, these are the guys from FAP from back in the day."
Mm-hmm.
We announced just today, time of recording, Monday before Monday Night Raw after the Royal Rumble, that we've got some fun stuff coming up with the core four, the OG four of FAP Reactions. Snowden, myself, Kevin, and Ryan back together. We're doing a reunion video on FAP Reactions. Maybe we'll get a cheeky prediction video for our channel. Then we'll have a live stream of WrestleMania, our reactions both nights, and a ton more stuff coming with all four of us on this channel. This will still mainly be just us two, but now Kevin and Ryan will be popping in here or there, especially for Mania, especially for SummerSlam. It's just, it is a throwback, but it's something that we've wanted to do for so long, and I'm so glad that we're finally able to do it.
It is something we wanted to do for so long. It's something we didn't want to end in the first place way back when, but we'll get a little bit more into that side of things during our FAP reunion. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. We built a little bit of a fandom in the wrestling world, almost a decade ago, which is crazy. We are still on the younger side too. So we were young back then, and it was on a whim. We got kind of lucky out there, and we always felt we're great minds for wrestling. We really felt like we're in tune with the wrestling world and what goes on with all that. So why not start another channel? We're a little bit more established in life. We have the ability to do this and do it better than we have before, but you got to bring it back at some point, right? We got to go back to the olden days. We've had some people sprinkle into C2 already. We had our boy Alec, our boy Pat, they've popped in a little bit. Kevin and Ryan will be popping in when we see fit, when they see fit. We just love wrestling, man. We love the camaraderie with it all. We're big sports guys in general. We love a lot of sports, a lot of entertainment type stuff, but there's something special about wrestling, and it brings out the best in both of us, I really think. This for 6 months has been nothing but a blast, in all honesty. It's what I look forward to every day more than
Yeah,
anything.
yeah,
It's literally all I think about, to be honest. I'm literally cooking and I'm like flipping chicken. I'm like, fucking C2. I'm like, oh my God, like, what should we do next? It's all I think about. And we're on the road to WrestleMania. What better time to be involved in the wrestling community than the road to potentially the greatest WrestleMania ever?
yeah. And we're going to talk a little bit about Mania itself a little later on in the pod because we obviously have the two Rumble winners and a lot of WrestleMania matches. You can pretty much tell the direction for most of them, barring any drastic changes. But the four of us getting together for WrestleMania for our live streams, we will save a lot of like the throwback talk of FAP and like the, what have we been up to for the reunion because
Mm-hmm.
obviously there's still plenty to talk about. But one thing I will mention is we've always been best friends. We never stopped being friends. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like we stopped getting the channel
There
because
was
we
there
weren't
was
getting.
no falling out or
Of
anything. Yeah, yeah.
course, but we haven't watched a show, all four of us together, in years, and
Time.
that's not like it was on purpose. It just
Yeah.
we're adults now, and these things kind of happen. So getting together for Mania, which could be one of the biggest manias ever. I'm excited for every wrestling show to begin with.
Yeah.
I love talking wrestling. I love watching wrestling. This Mania, even if I was watching right here in this seat by myself, I'd still be juiced for. The fact I'm going to be with the boys, oh man, I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm looking very forward to it. FAP again was something special to us. And it's crazy, the amount of time that's passed since then. It feels like yesterday. It feels like 10 years ago, though, as well. So it's crazy for us to be doing this all over again. And we had mentioned in our video that we did just post on FAPReactions that, it's maybe not permanent. We're getting together for this WrestleMania. It might not be every pay per view or forever. Again, we are adults. So it's hard to do. We're a little bit more established, trying to get established in this channel here, C2 Wrestling. But to already kind of see the love that we've gotten back and just only posting this video a short time ago is crazy to see. It's crazy to see. We are not professional wrestlers. We're just fans of professional wrestling that have some fans, it seems. And, it's cool to see, man. It's really
Yeah,
cool.
we're fans who love to talk with other fans about wrestling. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what this channel is. There's a lot of, if you comment, we're in the comments plenty. We love chatting wrestling. We have a ton of video ideas for the future of this channel, not just on the road to WrestleMania, not just WrestleMania weekend, but stuff that we want to get going, doing. If you're new to this channel or recurring, we obviously have the podcast where you're listening to right now. We enter the vault, WWE's vault. That's a fun series we do of watching those videos. Raw and SmackDown, sometimes NXT, post show reviews. Sometimes we go live for those. And then we go live now for every PLE. We do live stream of our reactions, which we would love for people to come hang out, talk wrestling. Those are so much fun. Alec, the honorary Oos of C2 Wrestling, who will be there WrestleMania weekend. He's always in the comments. He's our half statistician, half honorary Oos. Anytime we are blanking on something, he's the go-to guy and he gets us our answer. So there's a lot to look forward to with this channel, with this podcast going forward. So if you're new, subscribe, turn on notifications so you know when we post because we post a lot. I mentioned it to you. We had FAP reactions for 2.5 years, roughly 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and we've posted more videos on our channel in 6 months just
Yep.
because now we're adults. You get better at scheduling your time, but also we do things where if one of us can't make it, the other person can handle it. We find ways. We're always finding a way, and we just want to talk wrestling. That's what we've always loved. The Our old reaction videos show how much we love wrestling. Our current reactions show how much we love wrestling. And I think the proof is in the pudding. And we just love chatting wrestling with the boys and gals.
We absolutely do. So let's do that. Let's chat some wrestling. Let's get into it. Let's talk the Royal Rumble. Hell of a pay per view. But there's one thing I got to bring up, particularly about the Royal Rumble. Now, we're going to mention, as we all know at this point, Charlotte Flair, Jey Uso, your 2025 Royal Rumble winners. The discourse online of Jey Uso winning this Royal Rumble is some of the most baffling discourse I've ever seen within wrestling. There's a side that loves it, and I'm gonna put this forward. We love it. Jey Uso winning the Rumble is great. It is best for business right now. I can't wrap my head around the side of people that aren't into it. How do you not like this Jey Uso Rumble win?
So we'll be fair. We know how things are.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has an opinion in wrestling. Does not mean everyone will agree with your opinion. By no means do we like everything. We
Yeah.
all the time, if we don't like something, we are We
Yeah.
say we don't
Alberto
know.
Del Rio should not have won the Rumble.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Uh,
yeah.
wrestling, that's the beauty of it. You get an opinion. Not everything is for everyone, and hopefully each show has something for you.
hmm
I think this is a case of a vocal minority
Yes, yeah.
because there is still a lot of love. My biggest take on it, my biggest, I have a few big takes on it, but one of them is obviously if Cena wins, there's going to be a minority crowd that's loud and mad that Cena won the Rumble after not being there for a month and then is going to be gone for another month until the Chamber. They'd be complaining that a part timer won it, whatever. My biggest thing about it, though, is story wise, all four matches made perfect sense.
Yeah.
The outcome, story wise, for all of them, made sense, and you see the vision of the path for almost everybody on the roster. So I don't get the discourse in that aspect.
Yeah, I'm on record saying during our live show, I'm not crazy on Charlotte winning the Rumble, but I've been saying for months leading up to the Rumble that Charlotte versus Tiffany at Mania is the wave for the women's title. So you have two options, and Charlotte wins the Rumble or she wins the Chamber. I would have rather her won the Chamber, but the vision is still clear. The avenue is still there, so you can't hate on it all that much. When you float it back to Jey Uso, there's something for everybody in wrestling right now. There's been the Attitude Era where, kids were watching, but maybe shouldn't have been. There's been the PG era where adults kind of fell out of it. We are hitting an era of wrestling where there really is something for everybody. And the Jey Uso Rumble win might not be for you, but it's for a large majority of the wrestling fans, of the kids. We have said this between us ourselves. Jey Uso winning this Rumble is the closest thing to Rey Mysterio winning the Rumble back in the day. It's the closest thing to Jeff Hardy 08 winning the Rumble. It's the closest thing to Daniel Bryan in 2014 winning the Rumble. This is the moment people want. There's videos online of kids with not only the Jey Uso merch head to toe, but the haircut crying at Jey Uso's win. I think this win means a lot to the people out there, a lot to the fandom. I can't fathom the complaining about, oh, this person was over, this person was over. And you give it to Jey Uso. Jey Uso is over. He is the most over person in the company right now. He has surpassed at the moment the Roman Reigns level of being over. That crowd, if you go back and watch the Royal Rumble, both of them, the biggest pops all night. Alexa Bliss for the women, bar none, Jey Uso for the men. You had Joe Hendry debut. You had some crazy people come out to that ring, and that crowd went berserk for Jey Uso. We here at C2 Wrestling, we're enlightened. We've been predicting this, the Jey Uso Rumble win for a while now. I've been calling the shots a little bit. I see the bigger picture, see the vision, and I understand it. I can't get on with the discourse of, no disrespect to LA Knight. He's fantastic, but a lot of people talking, oh, LA Knight was over. Why don't we give to LA Knight? There's a time and a place. They've been building Jey Uso for a long time now. If you have not seen the Jey Uso course over the last year, I don't know if you're really watching like you say you're watching. The IC title run was testing the waters for this moment here for Jey Uso. If that IC title run was a botch, maybe he doesn't win the Rumble here. Maybe they go a different avenue. But they have been trying their best to get Jey Uso over. Naturally, it happened, and he won the Royal Rumble, and is going to go on to face probably Gunther at WrestleMania. Don't think it's going to main event. It's definitely the best scapegoat option to get a Rumble winner, a world title match, but also save a main event slot. Anybody else wins that Rumble, it's the main event. Punk, Cena, Drew, Roman, they main event whichever night of WrestleMania. This is how you keep those slots open.
I hate the people who say, "Oh, they you like this because they did it because he's popular." Blah, blah blah. Like they'll quote a random tweet, be like, "This has 100,000 likes. Why didn't this person win the Rumble?" Blah blah. Last time I checked, he beat fucking John Cena in the finals. So if you want to say They did it because someone gets more traction, whatever. John
Mhm.
Cena gets more traction than almost the entire company combined. Like
Yeah.
that's just a dumb, dumb, dumb argument. Like
Well,
very stupid.
it is very stupid. Like you said, it's a vocal minority. If Cena would have
Yes.
won, if anybody would have won, there would have been a different vocal minority. LA Knight wins, people would have been saying, "Oh, well, how did Jey Uso not win? He's way more over right now." It's there's always going to be that side of the crowd. There's always going to be the internet trolls. We see the comments, we read them here and there. Don't get me wrong; they give me a good laugh if I'm being honest. More than they aggravate or anything. It's just crazy to see the amount of complaining when WWE is doing nothing but delivering.
Yeah, and this is a guy who has been over for so long
Yeah,
and is still getting bigger.
yeah,
Still, like it's not like I'm not saying other people have kind of wandered because wrestling's been so hot, but it feels like like every show.
yeah.
There's more Jey Uso fans. There's more little kids in the crowd right next to him when he makes his entrance and yeeting with him at the same time.
Mm-hmm,
Whatever. Like it feels like every time I'm like, all right, he's kind of reached his peak. He finds another peak. Like I think back to we mentioned it, Backlash.
mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, this is the peak. Like this is as high as he's gonna get.
Yeah,
And he feels two times bigger than back then. Like he
yeah.
feels even bigger than then.
It absolutely does. The Jey Uso run over the last year is an expanded kind of Kofi Mania type vibe. I feel like where it's just a natural getting over with the crowd, and it placates to the Bloodline story. That whole top to bottom Bloodline story, in the long run, built up Jay. Without that, I don't know if we have the Jey Uso we have today. And I need people to realize too. I've seen a lot of discourse too. Oh my God, we had this match, Jimmy versus Jay at WrestleMania 40, and that's who they give the Rumble win to. All right, listen, Jimmy versus Jay at WrestleMania 40. We were there. It was not great. It's okay. 12 out of 13 matches on that card hit, guys. All right, relax a little bit. Think back. Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, the Usos, singles, tag, whatever it is, he has put on classics back in the day, some bangers. Usos versus New Day, Hell in a Cell. I remember Usos facing off against Harper and Rowan in a pre-show tag match, which is an absolute banger. Just to name a couple. Jey Uso can go in that ring. I don't understand the idea that now we finally get a guy the fans are rooting for to win a big match in a surprise fashion. Listen, we were calling it here at C2, but I did not see anybody else saying Jey Uso is going to win the Royal Rumble. Cena would have been predictable. Punk would have been predictable. Rollins, Roman, all predictable to a point. They finally give the fans what they're asking for in an unpredictable type finish in the biggest match of the year. What's there to complain about?
He's also had good matches recently. Him and Braun
Yes.
Breaker were solid matches.
Mm-hmm.
Him versus Gunther on Raw for the
Yeah.
Intercontinental title was good. Like there's been good matches. My like what I kind of laugh about is these people who are like, the match is gonna suck. The match is boring. They're the same people mad that Rock Roman isn't happening. Like that's a whole separate argument. I
Argument.
understand
Yeah.
some of it, whatever. But newsflash, if you think Rock Roman's gonna be some in-ring classic
Yeah.
compared to Gunther versus Jay, like
Yeah.
I've got a nice beach on the strip of Las Vegas Boulevard to sell you that you will be the top buyer for. I get some people, another big gripe about it. Again, I don't want to bitch the entire time, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
another big gripe is we have been saying before the Rumble, we both felt Punk's win was a little too obvious.
Yeah.
But we both have been harping on how much they've been promoting Cena for the Chamber and
Mm-hmm.
how it was quite clear Cena's going to be in the Chamber with how much they're pushing Cena. They were not pushing Cena as much for the Rumble as they've been for the Chamber. The
Yeah.
Chamber, literally, he's on the poster. It is
Yeah.
revolves around him. People are mad that he lost the Rumble as if he can't win the Chamber and get the same fucking outcome of facing Cody for the title.
Yeah. And like Cena, a guy who over his course has been put over, he's put over. He's maybe also, not to his own fault, but he's diminished or stopped a couple potential runs of people we could have gotten back in the day. I still believe we should have had a Wade Barrett championship run back in the day, and not that Cena's at fault for that. My boy Wade, it's bad news right there. But, I don't think Cena's necessarily at fault for it. But, Cena being the guy he was as over as he was the winner back then. To see him in the ring, his last Royal Rumble, puts over the guy that got the biggest reactions for the last year, the biggest pops. What else do you want? I really, again, I don't want to complain the entire time, but I think the fandom gets twisted a lot of times. And there's a lot of things to want right now. There's so much good going on that I get it. I wanted CM Punk to win. I also wanted Jay to win. I wouldn't have been mad at Roman Rollins or whoever else, There's so many avenues they could go that are great, but it doesn't make what didn't happen bad that it didn't happen. They still went a great route. And, a lot of matches, again, are shaping up because of this, because it looks like we're getting Jay versus Gunther. You imagine Cena probably wins the Chamber, takes on Cody at Mania. They're clearly shaping up for some sort of Rollins, Punk, Roman triangle at WrestleMania. Give me more. Feed me more, as Ryback would say. Keep it coming. This is fantastic stuff. How do you complain about those three matches right there? Jay Gunther, the potential Cody Cena, and the potential triple threat Roman Punk Rollins. It could be a 3-match Mania card. I'm happy.
Completely agree. I will still complain when they take an hour in between each match, like they did with the Rumble.
Yeah.
On Jay, though,
quick 20-minute podcast intermission.
Yeah, I don't know if it was when we were live or no, we weren't live, so it had to have been the post show when he lost to Gunther. And were you on Raw? No, you didn't do the Raw with me, right?
I was sick for Raw. Yeah, had the flu.
I'm trying to piece it all together, but when Jay cut that promo after he loses to Gunther, and he's like, I know what I have to do now. I know I can beat this guy. I don't know if I said it in the video. I should have went back and watched, or if I texted you, or if I texted someone else. But that's when I was like, he's gonna win the Rumble. Like,
yeah,
that's when I felt it. Not so much like the promo was very good.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest thing was the story. The story, like people complain, love to talk about storytelling, long-term storytelling, you name it. They'd complain when Jay never wins the big one. Yeah, oh, Jay loses again, LOL. He loses to Gunther the week before. He keeps losing to this guy. Has this final loss where so many people thought he was going to win. Why? I don't know. We knew Gunther was going to retain. Then he comes out the next night and he's like, I know I can beat him. It is like the most babyface promo before they finally get that big win where they get that confidence that they were lacking. It's like, I know what I have to do now. I know I can beat him. I just need to win the Rumble, and I know I've got this. Like, the story is so clear and easy to see. Cena, his story is about getting number 17. Great. My problem with it is his story doesn't so much have to do with who the champion is. I could be the champion. John Cena's story makes sense no matter how he gets there. Jay and Gunther have a long history that's been built for this WrestleMania match. They've been telling this story for months.
Yep.
I don't get it.
Yeah, us here at C2, again, we like to believe we're great minds for wrestling, but we're the average wrestling fan in a way. We're not ahead or above anybody else. But if you are in tune with WWE, if you're in tune with wrestling, you can read between the lines. Listen, it's obvious. Penta, incredible debut 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, whatever it was, clearly was not going to win the Royal Rumble. Andrade
was eliminated before the third person came out, but
yeah. Andrade, love Andrade, clearly not going to win the Royal Rumble. You have your potential contenders, which even us too, during the stress of it, oh my God, is this guy going to win? Maybe it is this person. You throw around the possibilities. But as you said, the leak speeding up, it started to really seem like they were pushing too much for Punk. Also, the leak speeding up, we didn't get John Cena on any Rumble promotion, but we were getting him for the Chamber. So you start to realize, okay, Cena's not going to win likely. Punk not going to win likely. Rollins has got some really kind of like side stories going on. He's not really in like the championship mindset storyline right now. So you don't think he's going to win? Are they really going to run back Roman Cody 3? I don't think the fans would really want that right now. You start to rule out your possibilities. By the Rumble, yes. If you watch our live reaction, when it's Jay and Cena in the ring, I'm like, oh my God, Cena's going to win. I'm stressing. But deep down, I think we knew Jay was going to win that match. I've seen reports. I don't know if they're truthful at all. The dirt sheets are wrong 99% of the time nowadays, if we're being honest. Okay. And we're going to say it here. The only person with credible info is Sean Ross Sapp. It's Fightful. If it's not coming from Sean Ross Sapp, I don't care. It's like non credible entirely, in all honesty. I don't believe this was reported by Fightful. I do forget off the top of my head. But there's reports that apparently Jey Uso has been the name for like a month and a half to win the Rumble. I don't know if I believe it because I do think they toss around like, okay, well, I mean, maybe we do have a Punk storyline here. But I do think a month and a half, 2 months ago, they wrote down Jey Uso as that number one. We're probably giving it to Jay.
What makes me believe it, I texted you in our group chat about it before we came on here, and I said it as it happened. It all goes back to that Raw debut on Netflix. And why did they randomly put on a week's notice Jay versus Drew? And I broke it all down. I think I even made a damn social clip about it. They had big plans for Jay because they want the mainstream people to see Jay and get used to him. It
Who won
was
that match?
so clear. And who won? Jey Uso by a roll up. And no one thought he was going to win. They thought Drew was going to win and keep moving on with his checklist of people he's got to get revenge on. Jay wins by a roll up. It's shocking. He comes out with Travis Scott. Like it's this whole big thing. And I was adamant. They wanted him on there. They essentially shoehorned him in. I mean, the match made sense, but it did not need to be on that show because being fair, it was nowhere near the level of the other three matches that were on that show.
Yeah.
Why is this match on compared to the others? Because Jay, they've always had these big plans for. So the month and a half, I completely believe because it was about a month ago they debuted on Netflix and they shoehorned the Jay match in, and it goes exactly to what I said. Like clearly they have had big plans for Jay and all the, we joke about Rikishi, but all these people who get so worked up when, oh my God, he lost again, he lost again, he lost again. Just keep cheering him. Keep
Yeah.
cheering him. Keep getting behind him. It's how the story goes. The good guy needs to fail
Yeah.
multiple times before he succeeds. If not, we wouldn't care.
Over the years of wrestling, all this complaining, this guy didn't get his shot. This guy should win the title. Oh my God, he lost again. WWE has delivered more times than not with these superstars. Oh, wait, Jeff Hardy did get the world title. Rey Mysterio back in the day got it. Daniel Bryan beat Triple H and Orton and Batista at WrestleMania 30. They deliver in these moments, and they're doing it with Jey Uso. Now, again, here at C2 Wrestling, been calling for the Jey Uso Rumble win. Not only the Rumble win, but we've been calling the Jey Uso booking for the last year, really. I need one of the C2 diehards here, Toph, compile a video for me of Jey Uso
Someone come through.
winning the Rumble. Somebody come through and find all the C2 clips of us talking about Jey Uso winning the Rumble. Compile something special for us. We'll tag you everything. Come on now. We've been calling it for a while. The writing's been on the wall for Jey as the guy that they are really trying to push over with the crowd. And they're doing it, in my opinion, wonderfully. And again, there's something for everybody. Now, Jey Uso is a little bit more targeted for like the younger audience. Yes, again, it's kids with the Jey Uso haircut. It's kids with the gear and everything. But, the kid in me, look at my hair, man. Come on, you're going to tell me this isn't Jeff Hardy inspired a little bit? Let's be real here, That's how it happens. But they're trying to with Jey Uso, where, you have him definitely endearing to this, younger crowd. Yeet is over as could be, especially with the kids. I'm sure kids are yeeting all over school and whatnot. But they also, as you said, they have him coming out with, Travis Scott, Quavo, all these rappers and stuff. They're trying to mix him in to a bunch of different audiences and get him over top to bottom. I genuinely love it. I love the Jey Uso Rumble win. They finally give us a little bit of surprise moment. Again, 29 other competitors. I would have been happy with 25 of them winning the Rumble, in all honesty. But this was the best option.
So we are all about fairness. We call
Yes.
spades spades.
Mhm.
We love WWE. We are WWE fans. If we like something, like we just spent the last 20 minutes talking about how much we like Jey Uso winning, it makes perfect sense, blah, blah, blah. We'll always be fair. You're about to get a 180 on that from me.
Okay. Okay.
Charlotte Flair.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is where we'll keep it real. This is
Yeah.
not, there's no blinders on. I get Charlotte Flair winning. I
Uh-huh.
get it. Charlotte Flair winning, it's like, to me, both those Rumbles, you had the stereotypical Rumble with the women, and then the unpredictable Rumble with the men, what fans normally want. They shit on both,
Yeah.
but Charlotte winning was like textbook. The big name gets announced to return. The
Mm.
big name ends up winning. Fans are annoyed that the big name just wins again, yada, yada, whatever. Like, that is the textbook normal annoyance of the Royal Rumble. To me, that's what made the Jay win so much sweeter. And after Charlotte won, I believe I said, I was like, dude, there's no way like Cena or Punk are winning. Like you're gonna have the two most obvious people ever win. It didn't feel that way. I know I just talked about how great it is that an unknown person won. I'm keeping that same energy with the most obvious person. Charlotte could have easily won the chamber. Or my biggest thing, just don't even announce her. Have her be a surprise and win as a surprise. That's
Yeah.
fine. This is basically like a guy I love and got set up essentially for failure. This is basically the Batista Rumble all over again, where they announced the return beforehand,
Yeah.
didn't need to announce it. Everyone was ready for that person to come back, and they just win anyway. Didn't need to.
Yeah. The women's rumble had some good moments. Jordan Grace re-debuts, we'll call it. We got some spotlights with Julia and Stephanie Vakir, and it had some moments. Don't get me wrong. Nikki Bella returns, but they went the really predictable route with Charlotte when I do think Charlotte would have been better suited to just win the chamber, if I'm being honest. Who else do you have win the women's rumble? I've seen a lot of people calling for EO. Yeah, that would have been good. I love EO. I don't think they've been really booking EO in the last, 4, 5, 6 months to have her kind of win the rumble. But again, I'm here for the surprises. I'm here for like that anybody can kind of win type thinking. It makes me really go back to my original thought that you have Rhea as world champion right now. Who does Rhea face at WrestleMania? I've seen people toss around Bianca, but Bianca's kind of still tied in with Naomi and Jade. I mean, if we're lucky, it's a triple threat, Rhea versus C2 at WrestleMania.
Come on, you know who she should face.
Who
Say
should
it.
she face? Who should she
Say it.
face? Let's
I
hear
want
it.
to hear you
Let's
say
hear
it.
it. Um,
Come on.
uh, Molly Holly,
No, you get warmer.
Trish Stratus,
You're even warmer.
uh, Nikki Bella.
You can look, but you can't touch. You keep dreaming on the stars above. Go birds, baby.
Now listen, I'm on record. I'm not a Nikki Bella fan. I've never been a Nikki Bella. I've never been a Bellas fan. I've thought for ages the Bellas were honing it in. They are just, they were right place, right timing. Not to credit them a little bit. Like, you did it. Don't get me wrong. Yes, you made it. However, you made it. I'm Seth Rollins. I'm not selling out. I'm buying in. I'll do whatever I got to do. But they were around during like the worst era of
They
women's
changed
wrestling.
women's wrestling. Call it a buck.
Yeah, but like I think anybody could have changed it. I think they were just the ones chosen at the time. I don't think
Total Bellas did so much for women's wrestling, and people don't want to admit it.
So,
Maxine Dupree even said she used to watch that show and didn't even realize like
well, sure, yeah, I'm
it's
not
the same
denying
thing.
that. I'm not denying that at all. But like,
Goats.
the Bellas are not good in the ring, really. The Bellas on the mic are not, it. Okay,
She's gonna
Nikki,
break you, bitch.
Nikki, and like Natalia on the mic. It's like nails on a chalkboard for me. I'm not gonna lie here. I guess spade's a spade. We're gonna call it how we see it. And I know I'm not the only one out there that feels that way. Okay, I have never been on the Bella hype train. To me, Nikki Bella, like, you have Rhea, who has done it all really at this point. Don't get me wrong, and you have a lot of women right now that can put on an absolute clinic with Rhea. Nikki Bella has maybe the star power, yeah, but I feel like it's a waste of a Rhea Mania match. I feel like you can give Rhea, even though she's faced, an Io or a Bianca or somebody, and they could put on an absolute clinic of a match. I don't think her versus Nikki is much more than just the gimmick of it. Hey, listen, you never know. Maybe Nikki comes out of nowhere and surprises me. I fucking doubt it, but it could happen, I guess.
Um, well, now that Alexa Bliss is back and
Yes.
is signed to a new deal, Sean Ross Sapp actually just before we
Years.
came on, said 5-year deal. The possibility of her facing Rhea is, that's something. Although it seems they maybe are kind of setting up Alexa Bliss versus Liv Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, there's not going to be 30 matches each night. Some of these matches aren't going to make it onto WrestleMania. Some might end up being multi-person match. I wouldn't be shocked if the women's world title match turned into a multi-woman match to kind of freshen it up for Rhea if it isn't her versus Bianca, or if Becky comes back and
Well,
wins the chamber again or something.
so not to like cut you off, but let me ask you, like, if you're going to do which I'm on board, like a Rhea triple threat, fatal four way, I think that makes sense this year for Rhea because she doesn't have like one direct feud. That one direct feud would have been Liv, but they dragged that out. And that's what I need to bring up is even if they did a Rhea fatal four way, Rhea versus Alexa versus Io versus whoever, I can't have Liv in that match. Liv and Rhea need to be
She
as
would
far.
be in it though.
She would exactly, but I
Yeah.
even despite that, like I think they need to stay as far away as possible, which leads me to wonder, like, again, the Rhea options are there. I still can't put my finger on who Rhea would go against, but I think Liv and Alexa would be better off maybe getting involved with like Lyra in a multi-woman match for maybe the IC title, And then you got Chelsea Green, US title. She's got, maybe Zelina Vega's coming after Chelsea Green or somebody. But Rhea, I've been on board for Rhea Bianca for ages. I just don't think the story is there right now because Bianca has other things going on. But the options are endless for Rhea. I mean, it could really be anybody, but I'm a little worried that it's going to be the lesser of not only all the stories going into Mania, but the lesser of all the women's stories going into Mania. I don't think Rhea's, even though she's champion, I don't think she's really got like that spotlight right now.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's going to be as strong at
Yeah.
like Rhea is the draw. Like Rhea
Yes.
is the
Yes.
star, but she story-wise, her biggest story with Liv obviously dragged. Charlotte Tiffany has been like a fantasy booked match since Tiffany's like debuted on the roster. So that's kind of months in the making. That story kind of writes itself. The trio of Naomi, Bianca, and Jade, if that is something that pans out for Mania, that is something that has been going on for months on end. Bailey, Roxanne Perez, like if that's something that happens, whether it's at an NXT Stand and Deliver or a WrestleMania match, because it seems Roxanne Perez is called up, that's something that has more legs throughout the weeks and seems to have a little bit more to it. Rhea, her opponents wise, like I guess story wise, EO would be the one. Maybe EO wins the chamber, but then again, like EO Rhea, fun will be a good match. Story wise, I don't know if it holds up compared to the others.
Yeah.
Um, If we get a Becky return, though, I don't think Becky wins the chamber and gets the title shot because that would be copy and paste exactly what they did last year.
Yeah, it
Becky
would be.
winning the chamber,
Yeah.
facing Rhea again.
Yeah, it's interesting to think because we're gonna book out the woman here briefly a little bit for Mania, where every Mania there's a title left off the card, even with 2 nights now. There's a lot of stuff's got to go down. Now you got 3 extra women's titles if you want to count the tag titles on both mid cards. Tiffany, Charlotte, lock it in. Like, I mean, let's just lock that one in. Rhea, whether it's a singles, triple threat, quad, whatever. Chelsea, Lyra, the tag titles. I don't know if we're gonna get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 women's matches between both nights of WrestleMania. I don't think we're getting 3 women's matches a night. Whether you love it or you don't love it, I'm sorry. Women's wrestling is great. It's better than it's ever been. Let's get that like forward. But the men's wrestling is still the draw. They're going to leave Lyra off the card for even Jimmy versus Jay or whatever the middle of the show match may be, if that draw is bigger. And the women don't have maybe the polarizing Mania storyline going in outside of the potential Tiffany Charlotte. You just said too, Io versus Rhea. Again, it would be great. Io wins the chamber. They, book it for a month. It doesn't have like that, not that it needs to have a 3, 4, 5 month build, but it doesn't have enough of a build to have that kind of aura surrounding it. I hate that word. I'm annoyed that I just
To
used
have
it,
that
honestly.
oomph.
Yeah, that oomph, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, it's very interesting, though. I think to the chamber, and honestly, again, I date back to Charlotte winning the Rumble just a couple days ago. The title is flipped this time. The title's on Tiffany defending against Charlotte, and both of us here at C2 are pretty confident Charlotte's going to walk out a Mania champion, and I'm not a fan of it personally. I really would rather Tiffany go over. It makes me think, this is wishful thinking, fantasy booking a little bit. Charlotte doesn't win the Rumble. Io wins the Rumble. Whatever, face is right. It doesn't matter. Charlotte in the chamber, but it's not a number 1 contender. What if they had Tiffany defend the title in the chamber? Tiffany, Charlotte, 4 other women. One of those women is not Nia. Somebody gets eliminated. Nia gets into the chamber one way or another, squashes the shit out of Tiffany. Tiffany gets pinned, loses the title to Charlotte at the chamber. Tiffany beats Nia in a number 1 contenders match on SmackDown and gets the title shot against Charlotte, the rematch at WrestleMania. That's how you really maybe book the babyface Tiffany. They're still showing heel sides of Tiffany, but Tiffany's too over with the crowd right now. There's no way she can go in as the heel, and they're booking Charlotte as the heel. The whole gimmick right now is heel. So, I mean, that's just maybe another way to like really push her over. I have a very similar, Bray versus Orton feel right now, where, Bray went in as champion and lost to Orton. I think the booking is different this time around, and there is a better likelihood that they let Tiffany retain than there was back then of Bray retaining. Vince ain't booking it no more. I think Triple H back then, not only would he had Bray win that match, he might have had fucking Luke Harper win that match if he was booking, okay? And I'll tell you what, he should have, all right?
Yeah.
Now, that's a little fat fandom right there for you. Now, I don't know. This is just me fantasy booking again, but I think there's other ways they maybe could have gone around not just the Rumble, but the upcoming Chamber to potentially better book not just one, but a few of the women's stories going in.
So we were recording this before Raw, as we
Yes.
mentioned, and we will know chamber matches, qualifying matches start tonight. Cena's already announced himself for the chamber, so we know the men's chamber is the number 1 contender, probably for Cody Rhodes' WWE Championship. Alex said it last week on the pod, and he was spot on. Like, I do miss having a chamber match for a title. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about this kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Um Cycle that it's like, all right, now every year Rumble happens. That's how one title match is set up. Other Rumble happens. That's how the opposite gender's title match is set up. And then you just do the same exact thing for the chamber. And it's like, I do miss the years of, oh, this is the champion, but he's got to get through the chamber to face the Rumble winner. Like, I
Yeah.
get that there's 2 titles now, but still, I just feel that was so much more interesting. like, yes, not all the time does the Rumble change, but the Bray Wyatt title change happening in the chamber
Yeah.
was so awesome. I think to even something so silly as when Daniel Bryan defended the title in the chamber before Mania.
Uh,
And it kind of was like, is he actually going to go into Mania as world champion? Like, is he
yeah.
going to? And then it's him versus Santino in the final two, and you're like, oh, Brian's going to retain. Like,
Yeah.
Brian's going into going into Mania. Like, I do miss that, and it then makes me think of just 2 years ago, the Chamber where they had the United States title defended in it, and it was
The better chambers.
one of the better chambers. And now
Yeah.
you have these women's mid card titles too. Like, I would love if, say, you're looking out at WrestleMania and it's not looking like you're gonna have that marquee spot for, I don't know, Lyra's Intercontinental title. I'd be way more interested if like the big match for that is her defending it in the chamber.
Yeah.
And it's
Agreed.
like, yes, it's a month before Mania, but at least it gets the spotlight. It gets a big match
Yeah.
and it kind of gets its justice. And then you start setting up for a feud post Mania for them, whoever the champion may be. Like, I do miss that aspect. Who knows? Maybe we're recording this before Raw. Maybe we do get one of the chambers is for the title. I'm confident the men's isn't because Cena's in it,
Yeah.
but maybe the women's is for Rhea's title, is for the Intercontinental Championship. I don't think it is, but it'd be a nice twist. And Alec was spot on when he said it. Like, that
I agree.
is something I do miss.
So I think the chamber has become what the Hell in a Cell once was, when you have the gimmick pay-per-view every year and it's just cookie cutter. And I think the chamber lost a little bit of the lust, near a decade ago when they changed to this newer type of chamber. And we, of course, understand it. That old chamber, let's just put it on the list of matches I'm not getting involved in. All right. I'm not getting back body dropped on the fucking steel. All right, guys. We understand why they changed the chamber around. It lost a little bit of the lust back then. There was a couple year run of the chambers up until really like the Bray one was good. And then again, the US title just 2 years ago. The chambers prior to that, they're forgettable. I don't really remember them. It's hard to recall because it
The
lost a little bit
seven
of that
man
lust.
chamber.
That one's not real. We don't talk about that one here at C2. Um, Now, the chamber, I also think the biggest flaw with the chamber is really the placement of the pay-per-view. I kind of have always hated the chamber being, even back in the day, I kind of always hated it being the pre-mania PLE because the idea of the chamber, it's this 7 man, 6 or 7 man,
Or woman.
elimination or woman. Look at me, sexist. 6 or 7 man or woman elimination style match from hell, getting thrown through glass. There's steel everywhere. It's supposed to be like, man, anybody could win. What a match to go through. I feel like it almost more suits like an August type thing. I feel like they don't want to book it as close to War Games as they could, but I feel like when you do it, when you run it before Mania every year, it loses the Gunther might lose the title before it. Gunther's not, he could be in the chamber. Maybe they do have a defender, but Gunther's not losing the world title in the chamber. If it was in August, maybe you really never know what can happen around them. I feel like they need to kind of shift that around. I would be on board for the chamber to kind of disappear for a little bit, give it maybe a 2 or 3 year thing. It's hard to come up with new matches. There's only so many like new match types you can really do. The underground match has been coming around a little bit. They've done a fight pit or two. Those are singles matches. Championship Scramble didn't hit. Iron Survivors for NXT. So I don't know if there's some new concept you can do a multi-man match in maybe pre-mania, but I think the chamber needs to be put to rest for a little bit.
Or what would be better is how they used to have it, New Year's resolution,
Yes, yeah,
revolution. Um, have it a month before the Rumble. That
yeah,
kind of dry period where we saw Saturday night's main event get slotted in this year. That's a nice, like, you're not going to have a champion on the Rumble, have them defend in the chamber. And then at that point, it's like, if it's for a mid card title, who the hell knows who could win that? You're a month before the Rumble. Like, if they had, if Nakamura defended the U.S. title in the chamber on the last week of December, first week of January, whatever, anyone could fucking win that. Like,
Yeah.
like that could have
Well,
been anyone taking the title. Like
so hear
it's
me out.
far enough away from Mania.
This chamber coming up, clearly we're getting Cena in a chamber, so that's the men's chamber. Is going to be that. The women probably get their own. Why not run the SmackDown tag titles in the chamber? You got six teams like stacked up, built to go, but you're building towards a multi-man match only a month and a half after the fact is the problem. If the chamber was in early January or December, maybe you could have done that. You had a better chance to build to that. But now your hands are kind of tied and you got to run the number one contenders or whatever it might be. I guess there is a small percentage of a chance that they do have Gunther defend the title in the chamber, but it's doubtful. The chamber is a filler show, in my opinion. It has been for a little while. Maybe Gunther does have a match on the card, but again, Gunther's retaining. He's going to be the champion come Mania. Cena's in the chamber. Who else is in the chamber? Who's in the chamber with Cena?
Uh,
I got two names immediately come to mind for me.
Styles and Logan just came to my mind.
That's a good two. I have a different two. That's actually fair. Yeah, I could definitely see that. In my mind is Drew and Priest being in the chamber.
Yeah,
I could definitely see Drew. Priest shifting to SmackDown makes it a little bit more like, maybe he's not, but with their potential feud coming up, it leads
I
me to
could
believe,
see LA Knight.
yeah, just to kind of get him in the card somewhere.
Yeah,
But LA Knight's also got like this whole bloodline thing going on right now, or old bloodline, I should say. So I don't know. I think there's a couple people you could definitely get in there. I would like to see like a fresh kind of new face in there. Not that he needs to be, but like, fuck it. Do you throw Penta in the chamber just for shits? Like just to get him the spotlight there. He's the Rumble Iron Man only 3-4 weeks into his WWE debut. They clearly got kind of the rocket strapped to him. He ain't gonna win it, but maybe you give him that spotlight.
yeah. I mean, it's quite possible, and also it's pretty clear that this transfer window is not ending before Mania as well.
Yeah, yeah. You mean this permanent transfer
Yeah,
window?
which
Yeah,
I'm just, oh, God, I hate it. Like
yeah.
the premise of it, I get. I just wish it was shorter and it was over by now. Like it just feels like kind of a cheap way for Mania builds when like
It is.
want to share the talent. Like just do it for 2 weeks. Window closes and you have all the guys that you want to face at Mania on the same brand. That's a completely different topic for another day. But since it seems the transfer window will be open during the chamber, you could have LA Knight and Drew both in it, even though Drew is seemingly on Raw and LA Knight is seemingly on SmackDown. Who knows? Maybe their transfers become official in that
Well,
time.
I did see again, light rumors. Again, I can't say who I can credit this to. I forget who it came from. I don't think it was Fightful, but I did see a report that Styles might be going to Raw for the
Yeah,
transfer window.
which makes me think he's facing Logan at Mania.
Exactly. Yeah, because Logan's been all over Raw. Yeah. So you put Styles on Raw alongside Logan.
Maybe
LA.
Priest moves to SmackDown.
Well, he's officially
Sorry,
SmackDown. Yeah.
maybe Drew moves to SmackDown
To
to face
SmackDown
Priest.
to face Priest. Yeah. And then, now you have, I do every Mania. There's always a couple like stragglers that are kind of lost in the shuffle a little bit. LA Knight kind of falls into that slot again, unfortunately. How do you really get him on the card? Maybe it's a multi-man match for an IC, US title, whatever it may be. Maybe you put him in the chamber and he also builds a feud with somebody out of that chamber. Honestly, throw fucking Fatu in the chamber. Why not?
I would think he isn't because of this story with
Yeah,
Strowman. I wouldn't be shocked if
yeah,
they both have like or one of them has qualifying match
yeah, yeah,
and the
yeah,
other costs them or something
yeah.
like that. Like that feud's still gonna get paid off. That kind of makes me feel like maybe LA Knight ends up teaming with Strowman and I don't know, one other person and they face the Bloodline or Bloodline 2.0. Maybe it's just LA Knight and Strowman versus Fatu and Tamatanga. I mean, like I don't know, but there are with all the intertwined stories, they're great, don't get me wrong, but it does also leave the door open for doing multi-man or multi-woman matches. And I don't want too many of them on WrestleMania. Like I don't
Agreed.
want, if you told me, hey, it's possible they do a The triple threat is the main event. The tag titles are a six-way. They do a four-way for Rhea. They do a five-way for the women's IC. Like
Mm,
it's all possible. I wouldn't like it. To me,
yeah.
that's like when you're playing with your action figures and you want to get all these people on the card.
Yeah.
You want to wrestle with each one of them, so you want to make sure they get on. So I've got a 10-man battle royal to open it. I got, like that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah.
But it's the door that they leave open doing all of these intertwined stories.
Yeah. I mean, again, you and I have always been on the realm that less is more, especially within wrestling. You're going to have a straight singles Cody match this year. Triple threat main event night one. Roman Punk Rollins seems likely. I would like to see the IC title, Braun versus Penta, straight up singles match. I think out of all the men's matches outside of the triple threat, we're clearly getting a tag multi-man match, of course, for the SmackDown titles. If anything, the US title maybe gets the ladder match or similar match types, maybe 4, 5, 6 man title match. And then you got the woman again. It's a lot of multi-person matches when often than not, the real stories are usually built up in just like singles feuds, is usually the better way to do it. I don't know if I need 4, 5, 6 multi-man matches as much as we're kind of predicting it. But there's just so many options right now, man. There's so many ways, so many places they can go. There's guys that aren't even around right now that are injured and hurt. And like, I couldn't even imagine if they had more people around healthy right now. The possibilities are endless, really.
They really are. And, last year's Mania, there's a lot of matches. Some of them were multi-person matches, and that's how you start to fill it in. I feel like last year probably was the happy medium with it all. I mean, the main matches were singles matches pretty much. But I mean, you had a triple threat for the US title, you had a four-way tag ladder match, you had a six-man of two factions with Street Profits and Lashley against Final Testament. Pretty sure there's another multi-person match. Well, the tag match main event night one, but then you start thinking of like the title matches, Cody, um, Roman
Mm-hmm.
match, Drew, Rollins singles match.
Through
They kind of,
Sammy,
yeah, Gunther,
yeah,
Sammy, and then you still had like the Styles LA Knight. So you still
women's
had
matches, yeah.
yeah the win both women's title matches,
Mm-hmm.
Bailey winning and Rhea winning. Those were single matches. So you still had plenty of singles matches mixed in with some multi-person matches. It just feels that this year there's a lot more possibility of more multi-person matches.
Yeah, it definitely does, and for better or worse, sometimes, don't get me wrong, Mania 40, it's really the best Mania of all time, potentially. And it's all opinion based, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely up there. A little biased since we were there, maybe. But it brings me back to like the early 30s of WrestleMania where they were really just forcing people on the card, that didn't necessarily have to be on there. So many avenues to go. I'm hoping we start to see it shape up pretty soon. We're full disclosure recording this before Monday Night Raw, so I think we're going to start to get some chamber build up tonight. Some qualifying matches and whatnot. We'll start to get more of a bigger picture of what's to come. I'm looking forward to it, man. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and the best part about it, you know what it is, right?
What's that?
That we'll be making videos, we'll be reacting, we'll be breaking down, we'll be predicting, we'll be doing anything and everything throughout this Mania build, at Mania, past Mania, to Money in the Bank, to SummerSlam, you name it. There is so much good stuff coming in WWE, so much good stuff coming in wrestling, so much good stuff coming onto C2 Wrestling. So make sure you're subscribed, turn on notifications for our YouTube peeps. We have so much coming. We want to hear your thoughts, your opinions. Come hang out with us during these live streams. I am looking forward to what's going to happen in WWE, but but I'm more so looking forward to watching and reacting with other wrestling fans.
Absolutely. It's been nothing but a blast. Only a few months in to C2 Wrestling. So much more to come. For now, that's podcast number who knows what in the books. I'm Snowden, CTD, C2 Wrestling.